Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's Tuesday. That means it's time for the Wrestling Inc. NXT after show. And have we got a show for you? We had Kaylani Jordan. We had Fallon Henley, and we even had Lola Vice, as well as some other stars on tonight. But before we talk about any of them, allow me to introduce the rest of the crew. I'm Jack Farmer, being joined by NYC Demon Diva and Flobo Boyce. It's the new team. We'll be the thrown together trios team, I guess. Before we get started, as we allow everyone to settle in and find their seats, Flobo, good buddy, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Every time I hear that, yes, I feel the electricity coursing through my veins. Daddy, let's do it.
Now, Issa, I'm sure you're excited. This is going to be a very big episode. I'm hoping we're going to get like 1 million likes on this video. How are you doing? By the way, I forgot to mention, you got the ears back.
They're the same. I did some surgery. They are hanging on by a thread. They're in a coma right now. You know, if I move the wrong way, I'll lose my sound. But we got to do what we got to do right now. But yeah, I love tonight's episode of NXT. I can't wait to talk about it with the both of you.
Yeah, you got. Are you Weekend at Bernie's?
Yes. I refuse to let go. Okay, this is like we're in the Titanic, and I'm holding on to Jack. Jack is the headsets, and I'm never letting go.
Yeah, well, we have a great show. I just so everyone understands what the show is going to be today, because obviously today is a massive episode or a massive day in pro wrestling. Today we are only covering NXT. Tomorrow at noon we're going to be doing the AEW Dynamite show. So just so there's no confusion, today is NXT as it usually is. This is like business as usual NXT. And then tomorrow will be the AEW after show.
Yeah,
so we're going to
get a nice
both
coffee break with Justin LaBar, Jimmy, and myself talking some AEW tomorrow. So make sure you guys come hang out.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. We just felt like both shows are going to deserve their own focus. So instead of us trying to cram a bunch of stuff in and not do both shows justice, we want to give both shows justice. So we also don't want everyone staying up until like 4 a.m. watching this stuff. So
how come they get coffee though? I want coffee now.
You don't
drink your coffee.
All right, well, I got something, but I figured I wanted something served by you guys.
We provide nothing. But everyone make sure to like, comment.
Budget cuts, Flobo, budget cuts.
Sorry, buddy. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Everyone in the chat, let us know what you're thinking. For now, we already got a super chat. We got Paul saying NXT, NXT, NXT. Yeah, this was quite the show. But before we get into the show, we always do news. If you're new to the show, we do news first. And the biggest news story of the day is about CM Punk, because why wouldn't it be about CM Punk? It's always CM Punk news happening in pro wrestling, I'm telling you what. According to Fightful Select, there are currently no talks between representatives for CM Punk and WWE regarding a possible return. Furthermore, a Wrestling Inc. source confirmed Fightful's report that the two parties are not in talks, saying any reports to the contrary are false. Fightful has not heard from Punk, but did have sources say that while there are no talks between the two parties at present, Punk did send out feelers to WWE at one point to take the temperature for return talks. According to Fightful, Punk is waiting for WWE to approach him. Issa. Now, I saw this news on Twitter, and of course, all the responses were WWE's trying to work us. Is WWE trying to work us, Issa, or is CM Punk just not coming back?
I don't know. I don't care. I mean, this guy got fired from this company, so it's kind of weird for the whole conversation to be happening and people to just be like, "Oh, WWE is trying to work us." Maybe they are, maybe they're not, but I do believe that they might just not be in talks with him. There is so many times that we just how do I explain it? We fantasy book a lot of things in professional wrestling, and then when they don't pan out, we cannot get mad at Triple H or at Tony Khan or this and that. And it's like, we kind of made this whole scenario in our heads and in social media. Like, nobody from these companies came out and told us. It's not like Shinsuke hit a GTS last night on Raw or anything. But anyways, I am very, I don't care. I think the product right now is so hot. Look at the great evening of professional wrestling we got without CM Punk. And if he comes back, he comes back. You know, I like the competitive to be to this nature and not backstage drama and fights and this and that. Like, this felt like a fun week, you know? So I rather stick with that.
Flobo, the common thing when CM Punk left AEW was, look, you got to put whatever is going on aside and do what's best for business. CM Punk has proven that he's a draw. Does WWE need to do what is, quote, best for business and bring him in, or do they need to just keep the ship sailing?
Here's the sad and tragic part of the whole CM Punk situation. Both things are best for business because you had the roster turnover of the past year. People that we didn't even give a chance to in the roster a couple months ago, like Bronson Reed, is now in the picture. So it's best for business if you double down on that. But let's be real. When Backstage, a Fox show, had CM Punk, it was all the buzz. You're in Chicago. You're in a pay-per-view that is considered one of the big ones, but hasn't really hit the mark over the past couple years, say for 2019. What better way to say, look, we have every card in the deck by having the most famous Chicagoan ever on your show?
It's I think it's smart. I don't think this is a swerve or anything like that by WWE. I think WWE is smart, and I think that they have learned what happens when you look back at another Survivor Series recently where they said, hey, we're just going to celebrate 25 years of The Rock. No big deal, right? Or was it 25 years?
We got the damn egg.
Was it 25 years? I think it wasn't 25 years, was it?
I don't know what it was. It was an egg. That's what it was.
But anyways, everyone assumed The Rock was going to be there. I think WWE wants to put it out there right now. Look, do not expect CM Punk there. Don't hold your breath for the guy. It's not happening. I think all the other stuff that we've seen is people sort of reading between the lines where there's nothing there. But I don't know. I've said a million times. I feel like I've said a million times. I'll believe it when I see it, and then it happens, and I go, I guess I believe it now. So,
I'm just easily impressed. Okay.
Okay.
They called my bluff. What?
I am a terrible poker player, just so everyone knows. I'll believe you have a better hand when I see it. Right. Oh, you do have a better hand. So I don't know. I feel like WWE has so much stuff going on right now. I don't think they need anybody. I don't think they need anybody on their own roster, really. I think that they're just doing so well that WWE's just fine. So I don't know. We'll see how it all goes.
It does feel like when WWE doesn't want something to get out, it doesn't get out. So if this is going to happen, I'm not sure that we'll hear about it. It's very different when you look at the news that we've been getting. Even with the whole Jade that got out, but it was because she was in the middle of negotiations. She was still with AEW when the news got out. It feels like we don't get as many spoilers when it comes to surprises, people showing up in WWE as we do in AEW. So I personally feel like if WWE wants this to get out, we'll hear about it. But, I don't see it being a for sure thing right now.
Does the CM Punk deserve a final match, though? Does he deserve like a package written, like promoted?
That's all he'll probably get, because he'll probably get injured again.
Damn. Well, damn.
I don't know. I feel like we live in a world where you don't necessarily deserve anything anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I wouldn't be upset about it.
The most positive person in the whole freaking wrestling family is like, no, he doesn't deserve no last match. I don't.
Jack is so positive. When CM Punk is the chat, he's like, nah.
No, but I agree with you. We are past the day of, oh, you deserve it. Like, earn it. Yeah. That being said, like, against who? Look, like his ego.
Look. Things might change, and we'll talk about it a little bit. But like.
It's not CM Punk versus Tony Khan. I don't want it.
The Undertaker's last match was a cinematic match in front of nobody. If The Undertaker doesn't deserve a final match in front of crowds, I'm not going to go make exceptions for anybody else. Now, if he did, I'm not saying they couldn't do it and make it great.
First of all, that match was good.
Oh yeah.
I love that match so
Don't
much.
get me started on the boneyard.
You know, I was actually thinking the other day, like wrestling's what ifs, and I was like, I don't know that AJ Styles and Undertaker could have put on. I don't know what they would have put on, is what I mean to say, because they're both so talented, right? But I don't know what they would have put on if we would have had a regular WrestleMania in front of a crowd, as opposed to this boneyard match. That was I love that match.
I literally tweeted Flobo recently that they should just make a company called All Boneyard Wrestling, and every match is just boneyard matches.
And I said it was the worst idea I've ever heard.
And I mean, I want it to be in the same boneyard. Like, just the boneyard keeps getting destroyed more and more and more.
I said grand opening, grand closing. That's
every match has to start with AJ Styles popping out of a casket, because as soon as I saw that in the boneyard match, I was like, "Oh, we're in for a treat. Let me get comfortable, because that's how we're opening this." And it was such a weird time. And that WrestleMania, as much as I don't like thinking about it, the boneyard match and the Firefly Funhouse match are two matches that I'm gonna hold near and probably rewatch forever.
MDB 999 with the right idea.
Stop.
Undertaker versus Akira Tozawa in the boneyard.
Oh yeah, the rings will
him
be
ideas.
one
Akira
guy named Jack
is
Farmer.
Ready.
Just one dude watching it be Jack.
Well, we got to move on. We got to talk about the actual show here. Even though we could do a whole podcast on the boneyard, by the way. But
we're fine.
I want to say, everyone who is listening or watching, like, comment, share, subscribe, copy the link, throw it into social media. If you are watching along and you don't like to talk, you're not a chat person, that's fine too. We love the lurkers here at Wrestling Inc. We appreciate you. Just say hello. It's fine. But in the meantime, if you are in the chat, like Ricky, Zaldivar, Sergio, Corey, Mike, the Token, Dom, MDB 999, Beer, Corey,
Money!
Yes, Lisa A, George Bartley, Tori, everyone else, Ethan Cruz, Tommy O, Nelly Belly, and I saw Majestic Marie in there. A lot of
stop that.
What I do?
I got it too. Don't make me get in there.
We got no, I'm not shouting out that person. Corey Pride, Bigfoot, Sneakerhead. We got Nil, we got Huffman, we got Nick, we got all these KOD 667. We got a bunch of lurkers. It's good to see y'all. But I also want to give a shout out to someone special. Federico Ramos, aka Lego, left us a 5-star review on Apple
awesome.
Podcast. Says, quote, Flobo, you're gonna have to sit this one out. Thank you, Jack and Issa, for making an overnight studying session better. I was feeling a bit sad and stuck, but when I listened to this podcast, you guys made me so happy and motivated me to keep working. Thank you guys for always making us laugh and having a good time. You two inspire me to keep pushing forward and having a good time. Thank you, and lots of love from Puerto Rico.
Oh,
Listen to that. I'm so glad we became friends, Jack. I'm so glad we bonded over being stuck in a podcast with you after I couldn't stand you. And now look at us. Jack.
Wait, after I couldn't stand you?
Me and Jack started out a little bit rocky, okay? I know, Flobo. We were in opposite sides, and one day we ended up being just me and him. And somehow we just kept agreeing on things. And I was like, did we just become best friends? And ever since, it's been great.
Wow.
Basically, I feel like it's what do they call it? Stockholm syndrome, where you're stuck with someone and you start to make it work.
I feel like they did it on purpose. They were like, nobody else is available. You two fight it out live. And it went great. And shout out to Lego. We love Lego here.
Very, very cool. Thank you guys so much. You guys can all leave a 5-star review and get it read out as well, too. Let's talk about a show that was, as they say, stacked. We'll talk about stacks in a little bit. That's a tease, ladies and gentlemen. But first, Cody Rhodes comes out and he says that he's got some announcements to make. First, after the women's breakout tournament, there will be a men's breakout tournament. Then there will be a Dusty Cup tournament, and he's the GM tonight. So who comes out? Dragunov comes out to interrupt them just to say howdy. Dom then shows up, and they get some back and forth talking, and Cody says, fine, we'll put the title on the line in a match with LA Knight as the special guest referee.
They threw so much at us in like 12 minutes. I was like, what is happening?
Issa, I got to ask you, this is what I want to throw towards you. Today, a lot of people talked about counter programming, and they started with Cody Rhodes coming out announcing a tournament, another tournament, a special guest referee, titles in title matches, and later we'll talk about it, an over-the-top battle royal. I mean, that is AEW counter programming 101, isn't it?
I mean, literally, you started with Cody.
Tell me
just start right there.
That doesn't sound like an AEW show. We're announcing multiple tournaments. We're doing all this stuff, battle royals.
There's so much to unpack here. But yeah, that's definitely countering. I will say, first of all, it felt special seeing Cody in NXT. You don't realize how special it feels until he's there. You guys know I'm not the biggest Cody person, but it was cool. WWE tweeted that picture of him today with the Dusty picture on the wall, and it was just like, wow, this feels special. Second, him and Jay have got to enter the Dusty tournament, right? He's in a tag team now. Like, this is just meant to be. It might make it predictable, but we have to do it. Also, I think Dragunov came off just to have a suit off, but we didn't have time. We had to cut time. So I thought they were just going to model and we were going to vote on who had the best suit game. And last but not least, I'm going to steal this one for you, Jack, because I did a poll on my Twitter. I'm going to ask the chat or the people that comment later. The question of the night is, which Cody do you prefer? Drunk Cody or GM Cody? Because both of these Codys were so much fun.
Why choose? Let's bring them together.
Why not both?
Why not? With power. Why the hell not?
Flobo, this was definitely an interesting, this was a fireworks type of episode, and this absolutely started with fireworks, did it not?
I mean, absolutely. Even if you knew Cody was coming, and because we were kind of debating what's Cody going to do, what's going to say, he threw in the Dusty Classic, which is something I wish was back, threw in the men's breakout tournament, threw in LA Knight appearing as a referee in a matchup, and we saw Dominic's epic mullet, man. I mean, Eddie Guerrero would be proud. Shout out to his dad. I mean, this segment here hit all the marks it needed to do to make sure you're locked in and don't change the channel.
You know, we actually have a pretty good tie between GM Cody and Drunk Cody. I'm kind of surprised. But yeah, this was a fun way to start the show. I love them bringing back LA Knight, but not even announcing him. Like, that felt like a very big, it felt very, and I know people who are young enough probably are sick of people saying stuff like this. It felt so Monday Night War, like something, we're just going to throw stuff out tonight. Whatever. Let's see what works.
But you know what? And as we get into the show, we'll talk more about it. Every single person that they had come in help elevate someone. They were all in a segment with a younger talent. They were both elevating NXT, which is allegedly developmental branding. Never feels that way to me. I love NXT, but it was so cool, right? He comes out, makes his announcement, then we get Dragunov, then we get Dominic. LA Knight is there as a special guest referee. Like, there was a lot of things that just made sense, the right way to use these people. They didn't just bring them back just to throw them at you. Like, they all had a little bit of a purpose in elevating people.
Yeet. Let's get
Don't say it like that. Why'd you say it like that? Yeet. In other news.
Listen, yeet. That was. You feel me? You feel me?
Oh yes, I quite feel you. Yes.
Don't make fun of me. We get to we get the first match of the night, and it's Roxanne Perez versus Asuka, and everyone is in the back watching the show, and Shotzi joins on commentary and says her and Scarlett are going to be hosting Halloween Havoc. It's a quick back and forth match with Asuka remaining undefeated in NXT. Post-match, Kiana James tries to attack Roxanne Perez, but Shotzi stops her and beats her up. Flobo, when you have a situation like this, right? Obviously a legend versus an up-and-comer, the thing I always look for is, does the up-and-comer look like they belong? And I got to ask you tonight, did Roxanne look like she belonged?
Short answer is yes. Long answer, you starting off the show, the first matchup is Asuka Undefeated on NXT Asuka against Roxanne Perez. Talk about bright lights on a show that already had a lot of star power. Roxanne had to bring it. If she just showed up and phoned it in, that could be seen as a loss. Even though she didn't win the matchup today, I think she really did estimate, or she didn't really overproduce what she needed to do. But at the same time, though, Shotzi and Scarlett's going to be doing some of that Halloween Havoc thing. I really felt like that this matchup set up so much for not only NXT today, but further on.
I got to give a shout out to Paul for the super chat. This is for Jack saying yeet.
Don't encourage him. I mean, please encourage him. Please encourage him.
Beer money. You did a super chat, but I got to shout it. The way Jack just said yeet, he's now known as LA White.
LA White.
No! Yeah. No.
Yes. LA White.
Yep.
Yes.
LA White.
Yes.
Yeet.
Oh my goodness. Issa, this was fun. I enjoy it. I love a lot of potatoes in my wrestling, as we like to say here on NXT, but we got to represent Jimmy Corderas. He loves the term 10 potato bag.
20 pounds of potatoes
20 potato
in a
bag.
10-pound bag.
No, let him finish. Issa. What do you say? 20 potato.
There's more potatoes than there are bags. Were there more potatoes than bags?
It's off the rails. I love it.
This potato train is off the rails.
See what happens when wrestling is fun? We all have fun.
I'm trying to ask a real like critical question here now.
Sure. All right. We'll let you talk.
Did they try to do a little too much here with Shotzi and Asuka and Perez and everything else? I love this stuff, but some people, they think too much happens. There's too much going on. How did you feel? Did you feel like there was too much stuff going on?
No, I did not. And the reason why is because you had Asuka in NXT, so I don't care about anything else. Arguably the greatest NXT superstar, the greatest NXT women champion. Like Asuka in NXT, it just feels like home. You just want to hang on to it like a blanket, like that throw blanket you have in your couch that you just don't want to replace. That's Asuka in NXT. You understand? You get in the couch and you grab it right away, even if it's 100 degrees in your apartment. It felt awesome to see Asuka there. I thought that Roxanne kept up with her, but no, because at the end of the day, Asuka did win. And I'm talking about elevating, younger stars. I thought Roxanne looked great in defeat here. I thought there was so much going on that you don't stay there like thinking, damn, like Roxanne just lost to Asuka, and nobody in NXT is gonna suffer from a loss to the queen, on the Empress of Tomorrow. I didn't think it felt like there was too much going on. I was still able to focus on the match, and I was just happy to see Asuka. Also, shout out to that crowd. Like, that's such a small venue, and this crowd, the singing of the Cody Rhodes song, the pop for Asuka, John Cena, it sounded like they were in a regular size arena. The pops tonight were humongous. These people were hyped, as they should have been. This was a special episode, but it felt more exciting with the crowd.
Could you imagine everyone there just being like, I don't know, I expected more. But Flobo, I do want to say one, for all this, I guess the last thing I wanted to say here is I think critics may have watched this and said, look, you could have had Roxanne Perez get a win, ended the undefeated streak of Asuka in NXT, made her a huge star. Asuka would go back to the main roster. She'd be fine. But they didn't. Yeah. I think we're probably all in agreement that was the right move. But talk to me about your thoughts on that decision.
Absolutely, because it was a foolproof match, right? Asuka's a huge star. I mean, she's our favorite murder clown, and she's undefeated in NXT. Roxanne lost today, but then I forgot the whole point of the match was that it was set up by Kiana James somehow. She had Asuka's personal phone number or DMs or something. So yeah, Roxanne's gonna get her revenge or opportunity to get her win back next week. So I think everybody wins here, man. This right here was a good exhibition of what the division is and what it can be.
At some point, we need a video package of that conversation. Like, did she slide in those DMs? Like, yo, you want to come to NXT on Tuesday? And Asuka was like, yeah, I'm free. Like, how did that happen? These two have never spoken to each other. Right. Asuka probably had to click on the profile, make sure she was verified, see the number of followers to make sure, like, she's like, who is this girl?
Take off the mask. Who this?
She probably would if you ever watch her YouTube channel. That'd actually just be a funny. Funny
her
thing.
YouTube channel is
Yeah.
awesome.
Asuka, if you don't follow Asuka, by the way, on social media, one of the best follows for pro wrestlers is Asuka. Fat Matt with a super chat say, wow, that just flowed. Fat Matt with the super chat says, I wish Ariana Grace said hi to John Cena.
Oh, I get it. John Cena. Shantina used to say that. Yeah. Ariana's dead.
Deep cut.
Very deep cut.
So we get Gallus versus British Banger Style. I don't know if they have a name, but that's what I was calling them. I think they're calling them the Banger Brutes, but that sounds even worse than British Banger Style. So I'm just going to stick with what I
It's a family show, Jack. Don't do it.
So the teams get hyped before their match, but Gallus jumps the bangers. We get pool cues, darts, and beers in the pub match with the British Banger Style guys getting the dub. Issa, this was not a wrestling match. This was not one of those collar and elbow catch can matches, but darn it, it was fun.
I mean, anything that includes Tyler Bates' legs is fun for me. After you point him out that one time, you changed my life, Jack.
The one time?
I wasn't paying attention, and it's been a while. It's been a while since I did that podcast with Jack, and he pointed that out. I was like, wait, are you pointing out these legs all the time, Jack?
Jack is my friend. I hang out with Jack in real life. That's all he talks about. Tyler Bates' legs. It's kind of disturbing.
People talk about big meaty men slapping meat, and they think about two guys. Tyler Bate walking is two meaty men slapping meat. Those thighs.
What is going on? This is a family show.
Listen, I love this match. I wasn't into it at first. I was like, okay, this match is in the card. We have so much going on. Why is this here? And then it picked up. And then I was like, this ended up being a banger. I had a lot of fun. I thought the right people won. I told you, and I know you might not agree with this, Jack, but Gallus is just not hitting for me. They haven't hit in a while in NXT. Fair. And so I was okay with the banger, whatever you're calling them, winning. I have fun.
Flobo, I want your thoughts on the match, how it was presented, and just this kind of match. But also, could you rank for me the top 5 pairs of thighs in pro wrestling?
I cannot. I refuse to rank the top 5. I think the Jack Farmer magazine is the only authority on thighs in professional wrestling. I was
5-star thighs, let me tell you.
5-star thighs, daddy. The only thing I was a little disappointed. I really thought the pub rules would have been at a pub. I thought it would have been maybe not a cinematic match, but probably out on location. But that aside, it's exactly what we want. I was thinking about how the Brawling Brutes without Sheamus on SmackDown needs something to do. And I think this is the kind of hard-hitting matches we love. And I'm with Issa. Gallus has not, to me, been the Gallus of NXT UK or NXT for almost 2 years. And so I would say that the momentum wasn't on their side, but you have a question. What is Gallus now and where are they going to go? Because ever since they got outsmarted by Tony D and Stacks, I had zero respect for them as characters in NXT roster.
Go ahead, Issa.
No, that's it. He said it.
Jerome the Choice with a super chat. Thank you so much,
His
Jerome.
First super chat. Yay!
Thank you so much, Jerome. You didn't say anything, so I'm going to read your next chat comment here just to make sure we give you a shout out here. Jerome the Choice saying, loving the hosting group tonight. Main event, Jack Farmer, Astonishing Issa, and Flobo the Choice.
I'll take it. Yeah.
Hey, love that.
It is a choice. But
hey, wait a minute. Hey. I got small package.
Issa, I'm a big man on style when it comes to pro wrestling. Gallus wears matching soccer kits to every fight they're in, except for the one match, which is a pub match, where you think they would wear matching soccer kits, and they didn't.
What?
That happened.
The fashion was lacking, Issa. The fashion was lacking. She doesn't care, apparently. Well, I'm with you, Jack. I'm saying here's a one time to be as hooligan as you can, and it didn't happen.
When you go to the pub, you dress in your team's soccer gear, and most of their shirts always look like soccer kits. And then the one time they go to it.
Oh, she left. Wow. Issa's like, I do VIP only. She doesn't even do pubs. Okay.
Like that. Well, Flobo, just so you know, not the first time Issa's Issa's left me in the middle of a rant about fashion.
I'm here. Stop. I told you that my mic was on a coma and it completely went out, so I had to reset my audio settings.
So I should say I'm making a bunch of jokes and I'm having a laugh, but I thought this was really fun. This is like perfect middle of the show. You want something fun to keep your attention, to keep things lively. This was perfectly it. Like it was silly. It was serious. There was good, hard-hitting stuff. There was also like some kind of like, haha, he's using the pool cue like he's hitting him with hitting him like a pool ball and stuff like that. It was actually it was a super fun match. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I think Gallus needs to find their way, and I think they need to do it quick.
Can I say something? Just on my main man, Tyler Bate. I want more of this. Like, I get the finding yourself and being zen and eating a good diet and being mindful, but I just want you to hang with some guys who beat people up for fun. Just a little bit, Tyler Bate. Come on, man.
I think, yeah, Tyler Bate could learn a few things from the Brawling Brutes here. Learn to just pick fights for no good reason.
Yeah. I'm with it.
So we move on and we get a little video package of Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria for their upcoming video. And then right after, they're interviewing Lyra Valkyria when Tegan Nox comes up and is like, look, your match has got to wait. I want another shot. And Lyra's like, nah, I'm going to have the match at Halloween Havoc. I think I'm good. Thanks, though. But Nox looks very upset. Issa, should Lyra Valkyria be nervous about Tegan Nox?
No.
Okay.
No, I was on Lyra's side tonight. I thought she made perfect sense. This is, I don't know, maybe she's letting Natty get to her.
You think this is, it is interesting, Flobo. Natty became a bit of a jerk on Raw and then suddenly started supporting Tegan Nox.
Absolutely. Why not? For too long, that Natty has been someone that has had all the respect, but when it comes down to it, everyone writes her off. Why not associate yourself with people on the rise? Because you are the boat.
The boat.
Best of all time. We got so that we'll have to see how that plays out. We finally get John Cena. He says he finally has some street cred now that he's in NXT. And he puts over NXT.
When John Cena said he has street cred, it sounded like you saying yeet.
She said it was corny as hell. You gonna take that?
You heard it here first, everybody. Even Issa agrees. I am comparable to the greatest of all time.
That is not what she said at all.
He puts over NXT.
It's a good twist.
Look, he puts over NXT. He puts over the people, the venue, the wrestlers that want to come back to NXT. Then Braun Breaker comes out, and Cena says that he has an attitude problem. So he almost hits him with an attitude adjustment, but he doesn't get it. Instead, he just gets kind of hit by Breaker before Breaker gets out of there. Flobo, the thing I love about John Cena, one of the reasons I'm a big fan of his, is he had a whole bunch of mic time to talk about whatever he wanted to talk about. And he spent that entire time telling us and maybe people who are tuning in for the first time just how important NXT is.
Yeah, you know what? He had a lot more time than I thought he would because that was a very short jog to the ring from the top of the ramp. But I got to give it to you, man. He could have talked about himself. He could have talked about his 16 or 14 championships, but the fact that he was there and he got a whole segment to put over NXT for a lot of people who may have tuned in just to listen or see John Cena is worth his weight in gold.
Issa, one of my favorite lines happened here, and Braun Breaker said, "These people didn't come to see you," and John Cena said, "They can't." Just a small little
I will never not pop for the John Cena's invisible jokes. When they did the segment of him pulling up in the parking lot, I was like, why is that car driving itself? Is that a Tesla? It's like you have to say it, right? I thought you were going to say that your favorite line in this segment was the crowd changing the lyrics to Braun Breaker Sucks, because I popped for that.
I was going to, and look, this was a great crowd. I'm sorry. I'm going to belittle the crowd a little bit. Their rhythm just was not right for the Braun Breaker song. I felt like they just could not get into the Braun Breaker Sucks.
They got the message across.
They did, but come on. I mean,
it was impromptu, man.
You should have you got to practice.
Tough crowd, Jack Farmer. tough crowd.
I'm turning the tough crowd around on the crowd. How do you like that, Orlando?
You'll never be allowed. You'll never be allowed to go.
No, but this was really great. I think that it's just, everyone's given John Cena a hard time as he's been on top of the pro wrestling industry. But how many?
Just at me, bro. Just at me.
Just Issa has specifically targeted John Cena in attack.
As long as y'all know, yeah.
But the thing that I don't think he gets enough credit for is he really goes out of his way to help make other people look great. And I think this was just another example of him doing that tonight.
Yeah, you cannot deny, there's certain things that happened tonight that you cannot deny. You cannot deny the greatness of John Cena, nor how cool it was to have him there and what it was that he ended up doing. He literally was a cheerleader for NXT tonight. Yeah, he cheated on the main event, got involved in the match. He should have not done that. Paul Heyman didn't get involved, but we'll talk about that when we get there. That's just something that can't be denied. I got back into wrestling because my nephews, were into it and I wanted to bond. And my nephew's favorite was John Cena. So he got all excited when he got me like back into wrestling. And he's like, oh, Titi, Auntie's going to start watching wrestling. So I'm going to show her the way. And I hated John Cena immediately. And he was like, no, that's not how this was supposed to go. But there is a part of me that looks at my grown up nephew now and he idolized Cena his whole life, and he's turned out to be a really, really respectable young man. And I'm like, you know what? That was your idol growing up. You always looked up to him. Not a bad job here, Funny enough, he's a Marine. But anyway, there's that part of me, right? The maternal auntie side of me that sees the kids that grew up idolizing him and how they still get when they see Cena. It's cool. Cena is awesome. He's not for me, but I have nothing but respect for the man.
I will say, I was not always a big Cena fan. I was one of the many people who were, it's John Cena, the Super Cena. But over the years, I say it's kind of like Tom Brady. Eventually, you just have to be like, the guy's great. You can't deny it anymore. Like at some point, you just gotta. He's great. He's great. He's broken the world record of Make-A-Wish things, and he's won world titles, and everything you'd want from someone to be who's a star. He's done it. He's done it at like the highest level. I can't argue anymore.
I have a compilation of videos of when my nephew was like probably 14, all the way into like 20 something, of me going to events with him and just yelling John Cena sucks next to him every time John Cena sucks, and him going every single time, and it's my favorite video in the world.
So we get Cody Rhodes talking to Tony D'Angelo and Stax, and
best segment of the whole night.
Tell me about the segment, Issa,
wow,
because I don't understand what this match is that they've booked.
Bada bing, bada boom, come on.
Yeah, Jack, come on.
It was just, I don't know what Stax and Tony said, okay? And I think a lot of Italians, I didn't understand. I love when Cody was like, listen, I'm from Georgia. And Stax is like, okay, let me talk. And he made it worse. I'm like, you're not helping here. Like that.
It was, yeah, it was really, Flobo, it was really like, for a simple set. So I think from what I understand, it's a battle royal with tag teams.
Right.
If one person gets thrown over the top, then both
Stax.
people are eliminated.
Yep.
And then the final two teams just have a regular match, and the winners get a tag team title shot.
Straight out of Impact. But you know what? I got to give a credit to Tony D'Angelo and Stax Lorenzo for two things. One, Stax explained it because I missed it the first time. I don't know what the hell Tony D was talking about. But more importantly, like, since they became tag team champions, they seem to be very fighting champions. You would think they would say, hey, look, we're busy. We got a whole syndicate to run wherever the heck the family is. But the fact they find new and innovative ways to put the championship up, got to give them all the credit in the world.
Yeah, Issa, I gotta say, these guys, they won the tag team titles, and
it hasn't been the best reign.
But I gotta give them credit in the sense that most tag teams are like, I guess I'll wait for a challenger, but they're like, why don't we get the entire tag team division involved every single time we have to do something?
How do you know that's what they said?
Because they're getting the battle royal here. now. And before that, it was like, let's invite 4 teams to dinner to have a match with all of them. They don't do one-on-ones. Like, let's just fight everybody every time.
They are so sports entertaining, and I love it.
Who do you want to see them? Who do you want to see them face next? Who do you want to see win the Bada Bing?
Are you asking me or are you asking Issa?
Issa.
I guess maybe the Creed brothers. I mean, they seem to be pretty hot right now.
I mean, it seems like they're the next up, but they make sense. But I feel like I've seen them in that spot before. I feel like they're ready for a call up.
My issue with Tony D and Stacks having the title is it feels very. And this is probably my other favorite tag team NXT in recent times. It's pretty deadly. They're so charismatic and they're so entertaining that none of these teams just compare. Like, you know what I mean? When you start thinking about it, it's like, who do you want? Nobody. Like, nobody's going to live up to that. I mean, they've been doing a lot of video packages with Garza and
Umberto?
The Menudo rejects. Yeah. They've been getting.
Whoa. What did you call
Puerto Rican, Issa? What do you mean Menudo rejects?
Exactly. Ain't nobody a bigger expert than Menudo than me. So if I call you a Menudo reject, I know what I'm talking about.
Yo, that's a shade. Yo, leave Umberto alone, man. He's trying.
I came into today thinking we're gonna have a professional, serious, well-run, like
Angel Garza's a Menudo reject, and now I can't unsee it.
Nah, you'll never unsee it. You'll never unsee it.
It's on his pants.
I did that to Glenn, and now Glenn even calls them that every once in a while. Like that's just what they remind me of.
Como se dice horrible? That's what that was. That was terrible.
I am a Menudo expert. I know what I'm talking about, but they've been getting a lot of video packages, so maybe them, so they can show up the little werewolf tattoos that they got, the matching tats.
Don't say that.
What?
Wow, Menudo has a little wolf tattoos. Damn,
you guys are laughing, so you guys are just as bad as me.
She don't miss.
I was getting ready to have like a serious, like a political talk show. Right, we're going to discuss the issues today that are happening within NXT this evening, starting with yeet. Yeet is a word that the kids are using, but do you know what it means? More on that at 10.
I'm having fun.
So we have a couple segments that sort of went back to back, but Baron Corbin starts by saying he's upset that Dragunov is giving other people title shots and not him. So we get the Dragunov and Dom Mysterio match with LA Knight as the guest ref. Title on the line. Rhea tries to help Dom out. Crowd is really behind LA Knight. When it looks like Dragunov is about to get the win, Judgment Day shows up and LA Knight fights them off with a little help from Trick Williams. In the madness, Dragunov gets the win. Post-match, Corbin's music hits and Dijak takes out Dragunov, and Dijak says, I beat you to it. He's mine. Later, Corbin says Cody owes him one, so Cody gives him a triple threat match next week where he faces Dijak and tonight's main event winner, with the winner getting a shot at the title. So a lot of stuff, a through line here. First and foremost, Issa, I love LA Knight. I love Dom. I love Dragunov. This crowd, though, was really into LA Knight, and I sort of felt like they were distracting me from the actual match. I was focusing so much on the crowd and not really paying attention to what was going on in the ring.
You know what? I am in agreement. I agree with you on that. I didn't pay much attention to this match. Maybe this was the potatoes match. I'm very disrespected by the fact that you say that Judgment Day came out, because if I remember correctly, it was Finn Balor and JD Max Stupido, and he is no part of the Judgment Day. So I'm gonna need you to put on the brakes and understand that it was Finn and an imposter. There is an imposter among us, and it is JD.
In JD's defense, his last
No, there is no JD defense, nothing. He cost them the tag team titles. They should have let Damian Priest finishing on Monday Night Raw.
I'm just saying JD McDonough was right there.
Max Stupid.
But he made the briefcase, man, with his own hands. Give him a chance. He's handcrafted.
He doesn't go here.
Flobo, I want your thoughts on the match, and I want your thoughts on Dijak just swiping the opportunity.
So I can't believe I'm agreeing with you because, you and I talk offline all the time that I was with Baron Corbin. I mean, him and Dijak were the only guys in the entire organization with a winning streak. And I thought for sure that Baron Corbin would be in the conversation, but he had to go to the not even the general manager of the week to say, hey, what about me? But the other man, Dijak, cut Corbin off at the pass, master stroke. This is what I want to see. Look, I'm not a big fan of big men slapping meat, but I love guys who have very similar goals. That triple threat match next week could be main event status. I love everything from top to bottom. But that said, I'm with Isa. You got to make a decision, Judgment Day. Is JD McDonough with you or not? Because if he's not, he's getting involved and costing you guys wins. I
agree with you guys there. I think McDonough, his tryout period should have expired by now. He's like when you use the trial period of Netflix and then just keep changing your email address so you keep it going. I will say when Trick Williams caught Rhea Ripley, I don't know about you guys, but time slowed down and I just heard, take my breath away.
You're dating yourself.
I was jealous of them both. I didn't know if I wanted to be Trick or Rhea in that situation, if I'm being honest with you.
I was like, yeah, that's a good point.
I was like, I would love to be either one of them right now.
Is it less old though, Flo? If I'm like, it's sixpence, none the richer. It's like, kiss me.
You're the same age there, yeah.
Barley string swing.
I love Trick Williams finally showing up, man. I thought he would have got to face their darkness, but yeah, if you got to make yourself an impact, catching Rhea is how you do it.
Oh man, yeah, both of them were winners
getting
in that situation.
Caught by Trick Willie, please.
I mean, yeah, both. I think both of them were winners there. Even the fans were the winners, really. Speaking of Trick Williams, we do get a little backstage segment where Trick Mellow Gang irons out their differences, and Cena yucks it up with them. But Trick asks Cena, when did you know it was your time?
When he made his entrance music, obviously. What kind of question is that?
That is kind of a good point. I mean, because he had the Thugonomics song.
Which
and then
was a banger.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I was like, when he changed, I was like, this is so much better than Thugonomics. But now when I hear Thugonomics, I'm like, word life. This is
so
great.
You think you're untouchable.
But I'm forcing you to feel me.
And I'm forcing you.
It goes so hard in that song. He didn't need to.
No, and the Titantron is a little like back and forth boomerang effect. It was great. Word life. With the basic Thugonomics.
Listen, it's hidden deep in my gym playlist, and I always just shuffle and keep going. And every once in a while, it hits, and I'm like, as soon as it comes on, you know what I'm saying?
You do lift a little bit harder when that one comes on, for sure. Flobo, is Trick Mellow Gang over? Is Trick gonna shoot his shot?
No, Trick needs to shoot his shot elsewhere, whether it's going to be NA title again or somewhere else. But please keep Trick Mellow Gang together because I like the fact you have these two guys who have an alliance. It can always be put together, but are doing their separate ways. Kind of what DIY is doing on Monday nights. I like that. I like that whenever something is a bigger threat, they combine like Voltron, combine like the Avengers to make it happen. Please don't give me that classic Janity to the barbershop window. I beg of you, NXT.
Flobo, your example was two guys that literally had a last heartbeat match because they hated each other.
But they're friends now. You saw on Monday, right? They worked it out. I don't know.
Issa, do you want to see these two fight or do you want to see them hug it out?
I would like to see an amicable breakup between the two of them. I do think that they're both so charismatic and so awesome that they can outshine the other. There was a period of time where I'm looking at Melo and Melo is him and Melo don't miss, but I was like, yo, but listen, Trick Williams back there, hey, and he wasn't shining, and I did think that them going their separate ways was the right decision.
So I'm big fans of both of them, and I want everyone to just be friends. So hopefully they stay friends.
Yeah, we know you're all friends wrestling.
Speaking of all friends wrestling, Paul says with a super chat, "This is awesome." So good.
We're having fun. We're having a great time.
This is a great show. So we got a couple backstage segments that happened. And we got Paul Heyman talking to Ava Raine, anonymous, just spying on him.
Creeper.
Flobo. Ava Raine, is she joining the bloodline? Yes or no?
She should. Why the heck not? Look, I know everyone's kind of
everyone wants to.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to join the bloodline? Look, I know everyone's talking about, hey, look, man, Ava Raine, she's with the schism or whatever, but Paul Heyman made the trip. He probably flew coach to Orlando. The least he can do is tell Roman Reigns his cousin's cousin is doing well for herself. Get her on the team. Get her under the tutelage of Roman Reigns and company. Watch her grow. I say sign her tonight.
Issa, is Paul Heyman trying to recruit Ava Raine to be in the bloodline, or is Paul Heyman trying to make Ava Raine bait for The Rock?
Maybe both.
Maybe
both. You know, I don't trust anybody in the bloodline no more. They're all traitors.
Wow.
I only trust my tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Anybody else, Matt Sauce in my book.
Paul Heyman is a straight shooter. You can always trust whatever he's doing. Never steer you wrong.
Okay, Jack.
Jade Cargill arrives and is greeted by HBK. Interesting. I don't know if there's anything to take away from that.
There is tons to take away from that. It's Jade Cargill in the shoes. I had the shoes she was wearing, by the way. Shout out.
I mean, look, Jade Cargill is a superstar. Does this mean? Do you think she's going to be on NXT?
I think we're going to tease her. Triple H said it in the press conference. Whenever she's ready, I'm going to put the machine behind her. I think in the meantime, teasing her everywhere is the right way to do it. Tease her on NXT. You already teased her on PLE. Put her backstage on Raw. Put her backstage on SmackDown. What are they going to do with her? We don't know. I love the idea of everybody fighting to get Jay right now.
I'm with that. 100%.
Flobo, I got to ask you this. Is Cody Rhodes was made general manager for the night. Is that because Shawn Michaels believed that Cody Rhodes would have been a great addition to the team, or was Shawn Michaels just trying to free up his calendar because he knew Jade Cargill was coming around?
Yeah, I think Shawn Michaels really saw the discount at Sonic Burger, wanted to have the afternoon to himself and just give the next guy who walked in that door a chance to be general manager. But yeah, I think Cody Rhodes is the best person to be manning the ship when Jade Cargill arrives, because like you just said, give us a little bit of that unpredictability. Will she be signed to Tuesday nights or Monday? Who knows?
Not only that, Jade got the Codyvator after Cody left, which goes to show you how much Jade and Cody get along. So yes, I will hire Cody to be the GM and try to lure her into NXT. They should have had a backstage, a little interaction, a little good to see you again, old friend, between the two of them. I was waiting for that.
I think Shawn Michaels was like, "Oh, Jade's coming. Hey, Cody, you take all my work. You take all my work. I'm gonna go hang out with Jade."
Shawn Michaels called her.
I mean, yeah, why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
But Lola Vice and Danny Palmer have a match, fairly quick one, with Lola Vice getting the win and moves on in the tournament. Issa, Lola Vice seems to be one of the favorites. Do you think she's going all the way?
I do. I really like her. I enjoyed her work tonight. She's great. Crowd is feeling it. Love the entrance music. Makes me want to dance every time I hear it. I'm here for it.
Flobo, Danny Palmer, what kind of ceiling do you see on her? Do you think she's going to be someone who comes out of this and still has a big impact in NXT, or does she have an uphill climb ahead of her?
Absolutely an uphill climb. Here's somebody who was very athletic, very resilient, but that does not get you to the dance anymore. It's no longer 2016 NXT, it's 2023. So I would say align yourself with a faction, get yourself a mentor, a mouthpiece. Give me another iteration of Danny Palmer, but I do think I wouldn't write her off quite yet. I'll probably buy the stock, not tell my friends about it, and when it hits numbers, I'll say, I told you so, Daddy.
I think Danny Palmer, she was actually really good in this match from a wrestling standpoint. So I hope she gets to do more. But yeah, I think Lola Vice is one of the favorites. So I was not surprised by the outcome. Chase U is having some more classes, and Thea Hale's like, hey, can I come back? But I got to bring my buddy JC Jane. And of course, Andre Chase says yes, but then everyone just hangs out on their cell phones like Issa right now.
Damn.
I had to think that. I'm sorry.
Wow. Jack Shade, Issa Shade. I thought it was going to be a positive show. I thought wrong.
Have you been hanging out with JC Jane, Issa?
I see that.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
Listen, Andrew Chase was like not happy. He's that kind of professor who'll start cursing you out if you're not paying attention. At least you were nice about it. You
Yeah.
didn't curse me out.
Listen, I'm just trying to collect a paycheck, so I don't care.
Are we all? Why was the JC James idea? Who was like, let's go to class and talk in it? We're so scandalous.
I got a feeling that JC Jane is going to make a move on someone at Chase U.
Really? Like who?
Like, I don't know. Like
Duke?
Like Duke or Andre. Who else is in Chase U?
You know, the Roman at Chase U is pretty abysmal. There's a lot of people to really exploit. There's no one around.
Their recruiting team is not good at Chase U. I think it's because their athletics program isn't doing very well.
Right, exactly. It's a wrestling team.
Yeah, but so that will definitely more will happen there. But we get a Lexus King promo. I think Lexus King is the name. That's what everyone was saying. He just said King in the promo, but says he doesn't remember his dad and he's tried to avoid the wrestling business, but here he is and he's nobody's junior. Now he's king. Flobo. This was, of course, Brian Pillman Jr. over in AEW making his debut. Did they nail the debut?
So inside the NXT universe, I think they did. They established Brian Pillman. They established Brian Pillman Jr. And then it was like, hey, no, I don't. I'm not on my phone. My phone's over there.
I see you in the chat too. Don't play.
I'm the desktop app. Anyway.
For those of you who are on the audio only version, too bad. You'll never know what Flobo just referring to.
No, I would say, like, I get everything inside the universe. You establish Brian Pillman and Junior, and you say, hey, look, I'm different. But you know, wrestling purists are going to be like, ugh, just call him Brian Pillman Jr. What are we doing? Why is it Braun Breaker Part 2? And I don't think that's going to be something that Lexus King has to overcome when he starts debuting in the matches in a couple weeks.
Yeah, you say it is whether you like the name change or not, it is a pretty clever way to explain why he's not using the name that we all know his name is.
Right.
I said that as soon as I saw that they were going to change his name, I was like, we don't even know the reasoning. He might not want to be a Pillman. Like, what if he wants to be known as something else? Maybe he wants to create his own path. Like, why are we jumping to all these conclusions before we give it a chance? And tonight's promo was absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope everybody just like chills and gives this a chance, because we had the same reaction to, I don't know, Gunther, and nobody cares now.
I think it's cool too, because Brian Pillman Sr. was a loose cannon. So if you had a kid, you'd be like, you know what, my dad was around, but I don't really like him like that. I'm on board. But I know everyone's like, oh man, why is Braun Breaker called Braun Breaker? Waka waka waka.
Yeah, it's I think it's a good workaround, and it also I like your point, Flobo. He is a loose cannon, so him doing crazy stuff fits, and so I'm excited to see him. I feel like he's got a good future, a lot of potential. I'm excited to see him actually get in the ring and start moving forward. Asuka's backstage, and Blair Davenport's chatting with her, Kaylani Jordan, Fallon Henley, but then Tiffany Stratton comes out and apologizes for all the normies and says hello before Asuka leaves. Then Fallon Henley asks, like, were you ever taught manners? And I mean, come on, Tiffany Stratton, right, Issa? I don't know what to take.
I had to unmute. I'm sorry, I was muted. But yeah, 1000%. I loved Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton is so much better when it comes to the talking part of her character in backstage segments. Granted that a lot of the in-ring promos that we saw her cut were during her time as champion, and to me they didn't hit. But man, every time I see her in a backstage segment is up there for must watch. I love Tiffany Stratton in backstage segments, and I love her in the ring. So how can we make these microphone skills from backstage work in an in-ring promo? We'll get there. I mean, Tiffany, she just got here, but I love that. And I love seeing her interact with Asuka. I think Tiffany is main roster bound a lot faster than we think. We saw how they quietly just called up Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee just got put into the SmackDown roster. We saw him show up a couple of times, and now he's on the SmackDown roster. I can see Tiffany having that transition too.
Flobo, I'm seeing you shrug. Do you disagree about Tiffany Stratton?
I don't disagree, but I kind of wish she had a bounce back since her match over at NXT No Mercy. The segment worked. If Asuka's there, why not make yourself known and say, this is my territory, you don't go here? But like, she was gone for about 2 weeks and she shows up doing that. You're like, I don't know, promo, match, something else you could have done. You got beat by Becky Lynch. Get some of your swag back first before you try to go over the Empress tomorrow.
I mean, isn't that how you get your swag back? You
No.
Chat
Did it work?
Of tomorrow?
Did it work?
I don't think she ever lost her swag. I think it's always Tiffy time. I think she's going to be a massive star. As we see in the chat, we have MD saying, MDB999 saying best moonsault in the business, maybe the best swanton bomb. Yeah, I said it. I think she's great. I think she's going to be a absolute superstar. But that if clearly we're going to get Fallon Henley versus Tiffany Stratton down the road, and I think that's going to be a good matchup for both people. But let's get to the main event. Let's get to the thing that we all want to talk about here. Braun Breaker's chat with Paul Heyman, and Heyman says that Breaker's a future Mania main eventer, and Braun says he's going to break everyone, so Paul calls Roman Reigns. Then we get the match, and it's great, but the story is Braun goes to use the chairs. Cena stops Braun. Solo shows up, and Cena fights him off. Then Melo gets the win. His victory's short-lived, though, as Braun spears the tar out of him. Afterwards, he says he's the only badass in WWE, and that's when the American badass rides in. Taker says one day he'll be special, but it ain't today, and he choke slams Braun.
What a jerk.
Issa, I see maybe you're not super happy because we got a phone call to Roman Reigns, and no Roman Reigns showed up. Were you disappointed?
No, I guarantee you Roman Reigns has his phone and do not disturb. This guy's calling him all the time. Like, that's gotta be mad annoying. He's coming back on Friday. Like, what are you calling him for? You can't wait till Friday to tell him he's a tribal chief.
If you had Roman's number, you'd call him all the time.
Yeah, I would.
I wouldn't. I don't call anybody. I literally call nobody. I hate talking on the phone.
You would text him all the time then.
I'm not big on talking to people, period. It's a fact. Like, you can ask you can ask anybody that knows me. I'm the kind of person, like, my issue is I either respond immediately or 2 weeks later. There's no happy medium with me. It's like right away or 2 weeks later.
So if I'm trapped in the well, forget it. Don't even bother texting you. I'm just pretty much dead.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
No, it's okay as long as you're not one of those people though that always goes, "Oh, I didn't see this. I'm just responding."
No. I'll just tell you. Like, I have one of my phones is always on do not disturb, always, no matter what. So like a lot of times people be like, I text and you're not open right in front of them and say, okay, let me read it, and they'll be like, bro.
Wow, my last words will be Issa can save me now. Glub glub glub.
So I'm not capping. I hate talking on the phone. I'm not. I'm terrible with DMs. It's just, believe it or not, it's just not my thing. I'm fine. I just talk to my dog. His name is Roman, so I guess I do talk to Roman.
Yeah, I was about to say, you got a loophole. But how did you think about what did you feel about the end of the show, Issa? Did you like how they brought this one home? Yes,
and the match was a little too long in the sense of we've seen Braun and Melo a lot. And if you're dual watching your experience as I did find myself paying more attention to what Christian was saying during the match and waiting for this to get to that point where I knew we were going to get to, right? So there was a lot of like, what's going to keep your attention tonight, right? That was the fun part for me, trying to have both shows on. It's like, which screen am I going to be looking at? It tells you what's the down point for something. I thought they had a great match, yes. But I wanted it to get to where we needed to get to. I mean, we had a surprise announced. You had John Cena out there. I thought Solo coming out was a great added bonus. Same with LA Knight. We did get some people that weren't advertised and still showed up tonight. But we all knew what we were doing this for, and I'm just like, can we get to that? That was the mood that I was in, because we just think. And they always put on great matches, don't get me wrong. And this was fun. But we've seen Melo and Braun Breaker a lot. I'm glad you said that, because I actually honestly felt kind of the same way. I love both these guys. I'm a big fan of both of them. But based on the show and knowing that Undertaker was going to do something the entire time, even not even thinking of the Undertaker,
I was like, something's going to happen. And so you're kind of just waiting for the moment to happen. And then when you're like, oh, they still got 15 minutes, it's harder to be interested in it because you know the thing is going to happen. You're like, well, I got to wait until the end for the thing to happen. That said, Flobo, I knew Undertaker was coming. They advertised him. I knew something was going to happen. I still lost my mind when the gong hit. What was your thoughts on the end of the match and the gong?
Maybe I'm wrong in chat. Let me know what you think about this. But like seeing what Undertaker ended up actually doing at the end of this match, I wonder if it would have been different had they not put the gong on the promo on NXT. We're already on board for Cody. We're already on board for John Cena. If it was just Braun Breaker winning it, saying I'm a badass, black gong, would that even be a more viral moment? Or maybe I'm just overthinking it. Look, Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes are great. Was it as good as a WrestleMania match? No. Was it as good as the match before that? No. But it was a fine, good way to show what NXT is, especially for somebody who never watches the show. You tune in for John Cena. It was a good way of showing what the thing can do. But that said, I was kind of expecting something bigger. Not in a bad way. I was satisfied. Props up to NXT, but I thought something else would have happened on top of that to make that must-see television.
Flobo, I want to follow up with something here. Again, I had fun. I thought this was a really fun episode of NXT. And it's been a fun after show, by the way. But looking through this show, the main roster was undefeated in this episode. And a lot of NXT stars took some big L's tonight because the main roster was on. Do you think that NXT was hurt in any way by this, or was it the right move to have the main roster stars kind of sweep the field here?
So ultimately, I'm going to say no, because it didn't really feel like it was SmackDown when NXT threw in. It really felt like the stars went down to NXT. It was, what does John Cena look like in Florida? So ultimately, it's going to be something that's going to help it out. But that said, if I'm a casual person who's never give NXT a shot, and I watch this episode, and then next week there's no John Cena, no Cody Rhodes, no Asuka, will I be disappointed? It might be a step down. I'd be curious to see what people are tuning into next week at all there. So I think they hit all the right moves for this, but it may be a short-term hit for a long-term gain.
Christopher Steichleather saying Ilya beat Dominic, so main roster didn't sweep. Dom's the North American champion. He's an NXT
Yeah, but
guy.
he's main roster. He came from the main roster to get that North American championship.
I mean, so
and he never even went to NXT. There's a lot
of people from the main roster who came back to NXT. That's no Baron Corbin.
He didn't come back. He just showed up to get the title. He's still showing up. Baron Corbin came back and stayed there. Dom is going throughout all the show.
Dom's been on every episode for like months.
Every episode of every show, Jack. You don't see Baron Corbin show up on Raw and SmackDown.
Just because he outworks everybody. That's not
outwork everyone. Hey, your dad dead.
NXT didn't look bad. Nobody lost to anybody outside of Roxanne to Asuka.
Look, I thought this was a super fun show. I got to ask the hard-hitting questions. Okay?
It's not hard-hitting. It's nothing that you're making this up. It's like, what else did NXT think? Like, none of these guys even wrestle.
Look, I love this this is my favorite kind of wrestling show. I loved it all across. I got to ask combative questions. That's, get people talking.
All right, stop your
you're wrong. Jack.
Stop your fan fiction and get back to the show that we got tonight.
We hate Jack. Okay. We hate Jack. Okay.
You're right. I don't want to. We'll stop the fighting. Issa, Braun Breaker, best spear in the business. Correct?
No. Oh, absolutely not. No. Absolutely not. It's Charlotte Flair, by the way. Let's be real.
It's Goldberg, as long as Goldberg's walking.
Goldberg, he quit. They retired him. He's not going to wrestle again.
Goldberg.
You see that spear that Bobby Lashley hit on Rey Mysterio the other week? Oh my God, it was brutal.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
It was gross. It was actually. I was like, he's dead.
Yeah. that was when they got to the back. Are you okay, bro? So. That does it for us. That does the whole show. We got a lot of people arguing about the best spear in the business.
I guess the people go. It's provocative.
Maybe Ice.
Gargano.
I call at least say Edge. I call Edge the B+ spear. So
dude, Gargano charged up like Slonk the Hedgehog. He's like, that is not a spear. I'm sorry. What? Gargano? What?
Saying he charged like Sonic the Hedgehog is actually something he
No!
totally likes.
You're right, too.
Let's
You're
go,
right.
Tails. You know?
Does that make Ciampa Tails?
Bye.
So let's wrap up the show. Everyone, let me know what you thought of the show in the chat. Also, if you like drunk Cody or GM Cody, Flobo, overall thoughts on the show, and where can the world find you online and all the stuff you're working on?
There's a lot of hype going to NXT, especially with it being Super Tuesday, and it delivered on all fronts. You can find me at Flobo Boyce on that X and that Blue Sky as well.
And Issa, how about you? Where can we find you online, and what were your overall thoughts of the show?
I thought it was a fun episode of NXT. I really enjoyed it. I loved everything, and I thought everybody was used properly. NYC Demon Diva all across socials.
And I thought this was absolute fun. It was exactly what I like in pro wrestling. This is my favorite type of show. So I thought it was fantastic. For people asking, and maybe who didn't hear in the beginning, tomorrow we are doing the AEW Dynamite podcast. It's going to be at noon Eastern. We wanted to give a full show to both broadcasts tonight because both of them are such big shows. So we wanted to give respect to each. So that'll be tomorrow. You can find me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. I also got to do some ring announcing for PCW Ultra at the world famous Rose Bowl this weekend. You can see that show on remix.tv. That is WREMIX.tv. It's free wrestling show. So it's a cool app to check out. Just watch free indie wrestling. So check that out. I'm also going to be doing Santino Bros Night of the Human Death Match on October 26th
Yikes.
on commentary. So if you want to hear me say things like, ew, ugh, no, don't. Those are the kind of things you're going to hear me say on commentary.
Do that here for free. Why would I go see commentary? No, I'm just kidding. Check it out.
But yeah, at Real Jack Farmer, that does it for us. Make sure to follow Wrestling Inc. As well for all the greatest wrestling news. And again, our AEW coverage tomorrow at noon Eastern.